And I think it was from that Turkey game as well. The fact that we were like, oh yeah, it's not just a normal Italian side; it's a fun Italian side to watch. It's exciting to see that you're
Yeah.
going for the second, you're going for the third, you're playing with some flair. Sorry to interrupt. Austria have just scored against Ukraine, so they're winning 1-0 20 minutes in the game as well. So
That's who Italy have
that'll be what, Wembley, 8 o'clock
on
Saturday
Saturday.
night.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a fun game with Austria's style of play against Italians. But I think Italy will breeze past them. It'll be fun. But
Yeah.
Austria have switched on these last couple of games, I think.
Yeah. It's blasé, isn't it, to not be worried when you
Mm.
know it's the UK or Austria, which is wrong because that's when I think you'll hit a banana skin. But like I said, you then get to the quarters, and I haven't really worked out who it will be because of the permutations. But look, Italy for me, I think, touching on what Sal said, Immobile and what you've said, has always been there or thereabouts. He had one dodgy season, bless him, in Dortmund, but he knows where the goal is. Insigne has had a good season at Napoli. And who's the other one? Berardi. Yeah. So, but I also like, funnily enough, I like Chiesa and Bernardeschi.
Chiesa, yeah, from Juve, he's quite a talent as well.
Yeah, and obviously he's a chip off his old block, the old man, which is Enrico, who Mancini knows again. And Bernardeschi seems to have a little bit about him. And that's going back to the point earlier for me. I think Italy have got proper strength in depth where we're not just reliant on, if Totti went off before, we thought, right, well, who's going to be that mercurial number 10? How many times, here's another quiz question, and I don't know the answer to this. Have you seen in a qualifying game like last night, 88th minute, they sub the keeper? That's when
never seen that.
Unless he's injured, and you know that Donnarumma was not injured, whereas Chiellini was against Switzerland.
I like Mancini's reason for that as well. The fact is that I went to a European tournament. Yeah, everyone plays a part. I went to a European tournament. I went to a World Cup tournament. Never got a game. Never got a minute. And he swapped like 8-9 players as well. It's a proper squad rotation. Verratti was back, and like you said, Chiesa, Bernardeschi, they played as well, which was nice to see them get some proper match game time and just getting some match fitness in as well. It's not something that a lot of teams have the luxury of doing, but Italy do, and they actually did it. So they gave Immobile a rest. They gave quite a lot of other players a rest.
Yeah,
8 players a rest, which is brilliant. And Bonucci got subbed at half time as well, which is brilliant as well. He's going to be ready.
It's only going to help, It's only going to help with like resting players. Honestly, it's just going to be good for you. I think the other thing that's been quite good for Italy is that no one's like talked about them. Like no one sort of considered them as a competitor until like I don't know, like a week ago. Before like a week, you ask anyone what their top 3 or even their top 5 teams that they think that would win the Euros, nobody would have mentioned Italy. No one.
I agree.
It's all like Belgium, France, England, Germany, Spain, but nobody would have put Italy in that sort of top 5. But maybe that's better. They've not had any sort of publicity, but this is going to come at the World Cup obviously now because
the expectation
how well you've done now. Yeah.
What I would say is, Sal, no one asked me. If they'd asked me, I think I might have put them in the top 5.
I'll be honest. I think people have just slept on it. Like they've just not, there's loads of good teams in the tournament. You can't like fault that, but it's not just about having sort of 11 or 20, even 26 good players. Like look at England, for example. We've got all this talent, but don't know how to use it. It's not really working for us.
Before we move on to England, Memphis Depay has just scored for the Netherlands, so it's 1-0 to the Netherlands as well.
Nice,
which is great. So they could be 3 from 3 as well. Because I was speaking to one of my scouting colleagues, Jeroen, who's a Dutch football scout. He works for Football Manager as well. So he's saying Memphis Depay could be the man to kind of lift this Dutch side who, like Italy, they weren't expected to do great things or good things at the tournament.
No.
Both of them have done very well in their group so far, which is great. There's a goal check for VAR, so we'll see if it's accepted or not.
He's just joined Barcelona, hasn't he?
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I know, it is ridiculous.
It's a great signing.
So whether we go on to we leapfrog to the English thing, and I'll just quickly ask you before we do, where do you guys see Italy finishing?
I see Italy finishing in the top 4. So I think they will get to the final personally, but I'm not going to say it because I don't know the route just yet. I don't know who the teams are going to be facing, but I think top 4 they'll be okay to get there.
I'm the same, Hamz. As I've got older, I've got superstitious. When I was a kid, I would have mapped Italy's route all the way to the final. But now, as I've got older, I'm thinking, no, I don't want to do that. I want the surprise of someone telling me. But I think top 4, and I'd like to see them get to the final. What I don't want them to do is come up against, let's say, a French side, even though I don't think France will get it, but let's just say they do. And in the last Euro final that Italy were there, 2012, we lost 4-0. And 4-0 in the final is never great. It's never losing in the final is a good thing. But 4 sort of distorts. I know Spain were right in their pomp. But I think that, and that's my only concern, is that Italy get all the way to a final, don't concede a goal, and then just have one of those games where they concede 3. You think, why didn't you do that in the previous 6 games? Just consult. But we know that football doesn't work like that. What I would say is, quickly and quietly on this one, is the likes of Chiellini and Bonucci, 997 games they've played together for Juventus and over 200 games for the Azzurri. I just don't see those two making a mistake and not knowing what the other one's doing. So as long as you get your fullbacks right and that formation that I said, maybe with the 3, I still think we'll get to the semis. And I'll put it out there now. Here's the kiss of death. I'm going to say between now and the semi-finals, if Italy get there, they'll concede 1.
But the thing is, Marco, I think in a way it's probably good to go 1-0 down in one of your games now, just to like it's just that
correct.
that the thing is, like, the team only knows like their true capabilities once they're up against it. So
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't always work like that, but it can be a positive to go 1-0 down and then win a game 2-1 to show that we can do it. But
yeah, good point.
I don't think the players are going to have any doubt in that sense anyway.
I don't think Mancini will have any doubt as well, which will make it easier for them.
He will, but it's a good point made by Sal. When you've gone 30 games and haven't lost, and you've gone 1,000 minutes and haven't conceded, it would be interesting, perversely, to see how you cope going 1-0 down in the 60th minute, to think, okay, we've now really got to change our game plan because we've only got half an hour to go. And I think a lot of people know if you go 1-0 up against Italy, you have pretty much got to build a China wall so you don't get broken. And then I think you may see the real Italians come out because they don't want to lose.
It's one of those things that a lot of people are like, oh, if France were to play Italy, then Mbappe can just run past them. I'm like, it's not FIFA. It's literally not FIFA. You're not going to have 97 pace Mbappe versus Chiellini and Bonucci. Like, it's real life. They have tactics to set up against these pacey strikers. Like, they dealt with Gareth Bale. They dealt with Burak Yilmaz, who's not the paciest of strikers, but they dealt with Mbolo, Seferovic as well from Switzerland. So they've done all right. Yep. And they've done obviously a lot better in the 30 games before. So it's going to be fun to see how Italy do against the bigger teams